Before we simplify square roots, I do want to go over one rule, which is this right here. Basically, this rule is saying that you are allowed to split up square roots as long as it's multiplication. For example, if you got square root of 48, you can write this as square root of 12 times 4, because 12 times 4 is still 48, and this part can be written into two pieces, two square roots being multiplied together, just like that. So we're going to simplify these square roots on the left by using perfect squares. And if you don't know what a perfect square is, it's just a product of two numbers that are the same that's being multiplied together. Like 1 times 1 equals 1, 2 times 2 equals 4, and so forth. And the thing with perfect squares is that if you square root them, you get a whole number. Like root 4 equals 2, root 9 equals 3, and so forth. Let's take the square root of 8. Let's get started. What you ask yourself in the beginning is, can I divide 8 by any of these numbers in yellow? And the answer to that is yes. You can divide 8 by 4, because 8 divided by 4 equals 2. So I can rewrite square root of 8 as square root of 4 times the square root of 2. And why does that help? Because this is a perfect square right here, and you're going to get a whole number out of that. So what I like to do in the beginning is, if it's a perfect square, I just highlight it because I know I can take it out of the square root. But you got to keep asking yourself the same question. Can I simplify 2 any further? Can I divide 2 by any of these numbers in yellow? Besides 1, because if you divide by 1, you're going to get the same thing. So if you can't divide 2 evenly anymore, then leave it alone, and all you got to do from here is simplify. Square root of 4 is 2, which is right here, and root 2 we're going to leave alone, and believe it or not, that's it. That is it. That is simplified. Let's try 50. Take 50, ask yourself, can I divide 50 by any of these numbers? And the one that sticks out to me is 25, because 50 divided by 25 equals 2. So rewrite 50 into two different square roots. We're going to write root 25 times root 2. That still equals the same thing. If you got a highlighter, highlight it in the beginning until you get used to it. But I'm going to highlight 25 because that's a perfect square. Then ask yourself the same thing too. We're left with a 2 again. I cannot break that down any further. So that will just equal 5, because the square root of 25 is 5, root 2. That is simplified. For the last question, this one's a couple steps. Let's take root 72. 72, what can I divide into 72? And there's actually a couple numbers in here that you can divide 72 by. The one that sticks out to me the most, because I know the 9 trick with my finger. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here's what it is. 72 can be divided by 9 8 times. So I can rewrite 72 as the square root of 9 times the square root of 8. And I'm going to highlight square root of 9. That's a perfect square. I'm not going to touch that. But 8 can be broken down. We can divide 8 by 4. So I'm going to have to rewrite that. Square root of 8 is the same thing as square root of 4 times the square root of 2. And 4 is your perfect square. So from here, all we got to do is simplify, because I can't break down 2 anymore. Square root of 9 will turn into a 3, and that's times. Square root of 4 will turn into a 2, root 2. 3 times 2 is 6 root 2, and that is your final answer. What if it's got a number in the front, right? Well, pretty much the same thing. Just move that 5 aside, just like that, and break down the 12. Ask yourself, what can I divide into 12 out of these numbers, my perfect squares? 12 can be divided by 4, because 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So that goes evenly. 5 times root 4 times root 3. And here's my perfect square. 3 can no longer be broken down. So if you look in this chart, I can't divide 3 by any of these evenly. So leave it alone. And from here, we just simplify. 5 times the square root of 4 is 2, root 3. Which turns into 10 root 3. Hopefully you're getting this by now. We're going to go a little faster. So 3 on the side, square root of 28. Let's break down 28. What can I divide into 28? Just look over here. 7, 14, 21, 28. 28 divided by 4 equals 7. So let's split those up. 3 I'm going to leave alone, but square root of 28 I can write as 4 times square root of 7. There's my perfect square. take a look at the 7, and I don't think you can divide it by any of these perfect squares evenly. So from here, we just simplify. 3 times 2 square root of 7, which equals 6 root 7. And the last question, we got 15 in the inside, and if you look over here, I don't think 15 can be divided by any of these evenly. I try to trick you with that one. That is already simplified. So sometimes you don't even have to do anything. Your teachers do that. Hope this helped. Make sure you throw a like and a subscribe, and I will try to come up with more square rooting videos. There are more rules, but until then, I will see you on the next episode. Peace.